Hello and welcome everybody to a new section in our quest to conquer freeCodeCamp's curriculum. Here we are at one of the most requested topics, which is JavaScript. I hope you're all excited as I am to start this new journey. Last week we finished the responsive web design certification. We finished the 5 projects and we got the certification. Now it's time to go a little deeper and we're going to start learning JavaScript, which will basically be the next step in our progress, the more advanced step I'd say. And it will be a lot of fun. For those of you who are watching live, say hi in the chat and we can then proceed. In this live stream, we have 110 what are these exercises. I'm not sure if we're going to go through all of 110 exercises. I might do them in 2 live streams, depending on how long it will take. Alright, let's see the chat. Bigger and better, we're excited. This is Hannah, by the way. Hey Hannah. Alberto, hi, watching from New York. Nice. Hello from Romania. And Ahmed from Egypt. Good. Alright, so yeah, for those of you who are watching this recording, keep in mind that I might not go over all of the 110 projects or exercises, whatever they are. But if I want, then I'm going to do another live stream later today, so you will have part 1 and part 2. Although let's try to go over all of them, but I'm not sure. Okay, everyone is ready, so we can start. JavaScript. In my opinion, JavaScript is awesome. If you agree with me, say it in the chat or give it a thumbs up or say it in the comments. JavaScript is awesome. Alright. I think we are ready. For those of you maybe in the future who are watching this recording and you don't know about freeCodeCamp, freeCodeCamp is a platform where you can learn programming, especially web development, from scratch, and it's also free, so you should check it out if you want to play around. Maybe you know programming, but you want to do the projects and you want to get certifications. This is a good place to do just that. Alright. I think that's all, right? I don't have a script, so I'm just yeah, I'm just talking as I see fit. Alright, let's start the introduction to JavaScript. I think this is big enough for you, so you can also follow along. Yeah, that's one thing I want to mention also. If you're watching this and you haven't programmed before, I highly suggest you either follow along, open freeCodeCamp, you'll find a link in the description if you need, and also do the exercises with me. It will be best for you to do it on your own first, to try it, because that's the way you're learning the most, when you trial and fail and see why you failed. But it's okay if you also follow along, but make sure that if you follow along, also do it on your own. Alright. Introduction to JavaScript. JavaScript is a high-level programming language that all modern web browsers support. It's also one of the core technologies of the web, along with HTML and CSS. As I said when we did the first curriculum, which was the first certificate, which was HTML and CSS, when we're thinking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I usually like to think it like this. We have the HTML, which is the bones, like the human body. Then we have the CSS, which gives it a style, it makes it pretty. We have skin and eyes and ears and all that. Okay, and JavaScript is what makes us function. We can rotate our hands and walk, and we can see and all that. So this is exactly how I see HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in programming. I hope that makes sense for you. Alright, this section will cover basic JavaScript programming concepts, which range from variables and arithmetic to objects and loops. Alright, let's go to the first lesson. Basic JavaScript. Comment your JavaScript code. Okay, we saw also that we have comments in HTML and CSS, and the same we have in JavaScript. You can have comments by either putting the /slashes, is that something? We need 2 of them before the line, or you can do a block of comments by having the /* and */ at the end. Best practices: as you write code, you should regularly add comments to clarify the function of parts of your code. Good commenting can help communicate the intent of your code. Yeah, this is true, especially if you want to go over the code again in the future. It happened to me many times that I created a program or something, and then I needed to edit it like in 2 months, 3 months, and I had no idea what it does, but I had comments, so then I could read what I was in my mind when I created it. So that commenting is good for your future self, and also for those the people who are working with you, so they know what you meant. Okay, let's see the first exercise. Try creating one of each type of comment. Okay, so we put the 2 // that's not a word. // Okay, that's good. And this is one line of comment, single line. Okay, and if you have a block, we put it inside this, and we can have here multiple lines of comments. You'll usually use this single line, mostly, not all of the cases, but it's good to know that we also have multiple lines. Okay, run the test. Look at that, 1% complete. Awesome. Declare JavaScript variables. Okay, so we're entering the nitty-gritty. In computer science, data is anything that is meaningful to the computer. JavaScript provides 7 different data types, which are undefined, null, boolean, string, symbol, number, and object. For example, computers distinguish between numbers, such as the number 12, and strings, such as 12 in quotes. This is a string. Also we have dog, or also 1, 2, 3 cats in a string. There is a string here, which are collections of characters. Computers can perform mathematical operations on a number, but not on a string. Variables allow computers to store and manipulate data in a dynamic fashion. They do this by using a label to point to the data rather than using the data itself. Any of the 7 data types may be stored in a variable. Alright, variables are similar to the x and y variables you use in mathematics, which means there are simple names to represent the data we want to refer to. Computer variables differ from mathematical variables in that they can store different values at different times. We tell JavaScript to create or declare a variable by putting the keyword var in front of it, like so. So we have here var and then our variable name, which creates a variable called our name. In JavaScript, we end statements with semicolons. Variable names can be made up of numbers, letters, and or $sign or low undercase, but may not contain spaces or start with a number. Okay. Let's see the exercise. Use the var keyword to create a variable called my name. Hint, look at our name example if you get stuck. Alright, so we're going to use the var keyword. Look at that, our in-browser editor also knows that this is a specific keyword, so it turns blue, and we can say my name. So now we declared our first variable in JavaScript. This is awesome. Let's run the test and see if it's correct. It is. 2% completed. Awesome. Good. The next one. Storing values with the assignment operator. Okay. In JavaScript, you can store a value in a variable with the assignment operator. So we have here my variable and we assign it the value of 5, which is a number. This assigns the number value of 5 to my variable. Exactly. Assignment always goes from right to left. Everything to the right of the equal operator is resolved before the value is assigned to the variable to the left of the operator. Okay, we'll see in a moment what this means. Okay, so we can see here my var is 5 and then we put my var, which is a 5, to be also in my num. Alright, assign the value 7 to variable a. Okay, a will be 7. Assign the contents of a to variable b. So we change this b to equal 2 and we say b to equal a. Oh, we need to do it here. This is the setup, so we need to do it only below this line. Okay, so we have the declaration here, var a, but it doesn't have a value. So let's set a to be 7 and then assign the contents of a to variable b. And now we can say b equals a. Although here b is 2, we're going to override it and set b to equal a. Let's run the test and is completed. Good. Okay, ask me later. Initializing variables with the assignment operator. It is common to initialize a variable to an initial value in the same line as it is declared. So here you can see we initialize it and we also edit the value of 0. Okay, define a variable a with var and initialize it to a value of 9. So var a will be 9. This can also be done in 2 lines like this, var a and then a equals to 9. But usually what you're doing is the second one, var a equals 9. Okay, run the tests. Perfect. Understanding uninitialized variables. When JavaScript variables are declared, they have an initial value of undefined. If you do a mathematical operation on an undefined variable, your result will be a NaN, which means not a number. If you concatenate a string with an undefined variable, you will get a literal string of undefined, but you can see here that it's in quotes. Initialize the 3 variables a, b, and c with 5, 10, and IMA respectively so that they will not be undefined. Okay, so we have here a, b, c, and their values now, when they were initialized, is undefined because we haven't set a value. So let's see, do not change code below this line. Okay, so we need to change them here. First, A will be 5, then B will be 10, and C will be I am A. Oops, I am A. You can see here that they are going to add 1 to our A and put it back inside the A variable, which means we'll have 5 plus 1, which is 6, and it will be stored in A again. Okay, on the second line we'll have B, which is 10, plus 5, which is 15, will be 15. And here on the last row for the C, we have a string, which is I am A. And then we add another string. Now in JavaScript, what this does is it will concatenate the two strings. So let's see, can we run the code somehow? Run the test, yeah, but I wanted to, let's see, console.log, can we see A, B, and C? Yeah, okay. We're probably going to learn about console log later, but I just wanted to show you what are the values of A, B, and C. With this console.log, we can see, we can log to the console anything we put here into the parentheses. Okay, so you can see that the A is 6, then B is 15, and C, look at that, so is I am A space string, and here is the string. Hopefully this makes sense for those of you who don't know JavaScript yet. Alright, run the tests, and we can go to the next one. Understanding case sensitivity in variables. Okay, this is a good one. So my var, all uppercase, is not the same as my var with M and V being uppercase, nor my var with all lowercase. They are all different. It is possible to have multiple distinct variables with the same name but different casing. It is strongly recommended that for the sake of clarity, you do not use this language feature. Yeah, don't do my var multiple times with different casing. That's not a good practice. I never seen it, so yeah, don't do it. Okay, best practice is to write variable names in JavaScript in camel case, meaning that if you have multiple word variables, names have the first word in lowercase and the first letter of each subsequent word in capitalized. So look at this. We have some variable. You can see that the first S is lowercase, but then all subsequent words have the first letter uppercase. We have again another variable name. This variable name is so long. You can clearly read it because you can see the uppercase letter. Alright. Okay, we have a question in the chat. How to get the dark mode on freeCodeCamp. Okay, let me quickly go to account settings, and here we have a settings of night mode. You can turn it on and off. Alright, let's go back to case sensitivity. Okay, look at this. It's so hard to read. Study cap var. What? Proper camel case. This is a good one. Title case over. Okay. Oh, look at that. They assigned, but it's the wrong variable. Alright, let's see. Modify the existing declaration and assignment so their names use camel case. Do not create new variables. Okay, so study. I don't know what stud. Studly cap var. But what does it mean? Okay, so we can use this. Then proper camel case. I'm just copying it over, and title case over. Okay, like this. Let's see. Does it work? Alright, so it works. We changed all of these to use camel case. Good. Next. Alright, math. So this is exciting because if you're not a big fan of math, you can put JavaScript to do it for you. So that's great. Number is a data type in JavaScript which represents numeric data. Now let's try to add two numbers using JavaScript. We can do so by adding the plus symbol, which is the addition operator. And we need to place it between two numbers. So exactly in math, like in math, right? Okay, my var in this example will be 5 plus 10, and it will be assigned 15. So if you remember in the previous exercise, we said that the value from the right will be first calculated and then it will be assigned to the variable on the left side of the equal. Okay, change the 0 so that the sum will equal 20. So we have here var sum is 10 plus 0, which is obviously not 20. So we need to change this to 10. Run the test and look at that. We did math. Subtracting. So yeah, this is pretty obvious now. We have the minus symbol for subtracting. Change the 0 so the difference is 12. Okay, 45 minus what makes 12? Minus 33? Yep, I guess. Last time I checked. Alright, perfect. Multiplication, the same. We have the asterisk. Change 0 so that the product would equal 80. 8 times 10. Boom. And we have division. We can also divide one number by another. Okay, with the /. Change the 0 so that the quotient is equal to 2. Okay, 33, 66 divided by 33 should be 2. Alright, perfect. Increment a number. Now, this is something also very important. We can increment a number by 1 using the plus operator. So basically, as they say here, I++ is the same as saying I equals to I plus 1. So it increments the value. Okay, yeah, the entire line becomes I++, eliminating the need to the equal sign. So we don't need the equal sign. Change the code to use the ++ operator on my var. Okay, so we can see here the my var has 87 and we want to add 1. So instead of doing this, let me comment this out, we can say my var ++. So basically it's the same as this line. Let's run it. Oh, yeah, I let it in comment. So let me remove this. They apparently don't like that. So. Okay, perfect. Decrement a number. So obviously, if we have ++, we can also do -, which does the exact opposite thing. So we decrement by 1. Okay. Let's quickly do my var -, and run the tests. Perfect. Create decimal numbers with JavaScript. Okay. We can also store decimal numbers in variables too. Decimal numbers are sometimes referred to as a floating point number or floats. Not all real numbers can accurately be represented in floating point. This can lead to rounding errors. Yeah, you should read this if you want to go more in depth to what this means. Create a variable myDecimal and give it a decimal value with a fraction part. Okay, example 5.7. Good, so we want to declare the myDecimal value variable, and we want to give it a value, let's say 1.7. This is a decimal number because we have the point, but it's pretty obvious. You can see it's a lot like math. We can multiply two decimals with JavaScript. Same as with numbers, we can multiply, also decimals, which is obvious, right? Change the 0.0 so that the product will equal 5.0. Okay, so we have 2 multiplied by 2.5, which will be 5. Good. Divide one decimal by another with JavaScript. Okay. Change the 0.0 so that quotient will equal to 2.2. Alright. Fix this line. Okay. Let me remove this. So we need to have 2.2. So 4.4 divided by 2 will be 2.2. Perfect. Are you guys following along? Those of you who are watching the live stream, let me know. Finding a reminder in JavaScript. Okay, this one is a good one also. We have the reminder operator or a percentage. Here, I think that's the symbol, right? Which gives the reminder of the division of two numbers. Okay, so 5 modulus 2, yeah, it's called modulus, right, will be 1 because 5 divided by 2 is 2 and something, and the remainder will be 1. I think that's the worst explanation of the remainder operator, but basically it what remains when you have the division. Yeah, that's not a good explanation. You should probably just read this and it will be much better than I explained. Okay, so look at that. If we divide, if you do the modulus operator on 17 and 2, we get 1 because we have 16 if we divide and remaining is 1. So that's it. If we do 48 modulus 2 is 0 because 48 is even. So we don't have anything left. The remainder operator is sometimes incorrectly referred to as a modulus operator. Okay. Is it very similar to modulus but does not work properly with negative numbers? Okay, so it's not the modulus operator. Look at that, I learned something new. Okay, set remainder equal to the remainder of 11 divided by 3 using the remainder operator. Okay, so it's not the modulus. Nice. So 11 remainder 3, not remainder. The remainder of the division of 11 by 3, which should be 2. Let's see, console.log remainder. We should remainder remain, which should be 2. Look at that. All right. Next, compound assignment with Augmented Addition. In programming, it is common to use assignment to modify the contents of a variable. Remember that everything to the right of the equal sign is evaluated first. So we can say my var equals my var plus 5 to add 5 to my var. Since this is a common pattern, there are operators which do both a mathematical operation and assignment in one step. One such operator is the plus equal operator. Alright. You can see here that we are declaring my var to be 1, and then we're doing my var plus equals 5, which basically means my var equals my var plus 5. If we'll have 7 here, it will be my var equals my var plus 7. So that's pretty easy. Convert the assignment for A, B, and C to use the plus equals operator. Okay, so look at this. We have A, B, A plus 12. So instead of this, we can say A plus equals 12. So it's exactly the same thing. We learned about the incremental operator, the plus plus, but that only adds 1. But if we want to add more, we can use this operator, which is called Augmented Addition. I didn't know that, but I knew it existed. Okay, let's comment this out. Now we have B equals 9 plus B. Okay, so they reversed the order, but again we can do B plus equals 9. Like that. And for C, plus equals 7. Like that also. Let's see. What doesn't work? Yeah, it works. So it's pretty much the same. Good. Run the tests. Next. Compound assignment with augmented subtraction. So obviously if we have for addition, we have the same for subtraction. Let's go directly to the exercise. So we can quickly change this to be A minus equals 6. This will be B minus equals 15. And this will be C minus equals 1. Although we could also do this by doing C minus minus. But I guess they want this version in this exercise. Okay, good. Alright, look at that. So now we also have the same for multiplication, which is nice. Okay, I guess we can just skip to the exercise. A times equals 5 here, then B times equals 3, which is the same as B equals B times 3. C times equals 10. Alright, and I guess the next one will be for division. Yep. Let me know in the chat if this is clear enough. Oops. Clear enough for you. Or do you want me to go in more details? B division by 4 and C by 11. Okay. Quick and easy. Declare string variables. Okay, so by now we work with numbers, and now we're going into strings. You can see that a string will have to be declared, and we put quotes around it. We can, let's see, it is a string because it is a series of 0 or more characters enclosed in single or double quotes. So we can have the first name be Alan with the double quotes, but at the same time we could, let's do it here also. Let's see, what do we need to do? Create 2 new strings variables. Var my first name, and let's see, var my last name. Okay, and here we can put our first name and last name. So Florin, and we have pop. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So we declare our variable name, and then we assign it to a string, which is a series of characters inside double quotes. But at the same time, we can have single quotes like this, which is the exact same thing. Single quotes or double quotes are the exact same thing. It's called a string literal. Okay, let's run the test and see what we're learning next. Escaping literal quotes in strings. Alright, so what happens if inside of a string you also want to have a quote? Well, in order to do that, we need to escape the quote. So we need to tell the computer that this quote should be there inside the string. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have an example of sample string which says Alan said Peter is learning JavaScript. And you can see that we skipped the quote with a backslash also here at the end. And the result will be this string which has the quotes inside. Okay. Keep in mind that in this case, well, let me show you and then, yeah, let me just show you what I mean. Let's do the exercise first. Use backslashes to assign a string to the myString variable so that if you were to print it, it will look like this. Okay, let me copy this quickly so we don't have to type it. Alright, so look at that, what happens if we don't skip the characters. It will interpret this as a string, and then this will be nothing, so we'll have an error, an unexpected token, because JavaScript doesn't know what this means. And then here again we have a string, but nothing here, and also another error. So what we need to do is to escape it. So we can do that by putting the backslash. Here we need the backslash. Here also. One here and one here at the end because we have 4 quotes. Okay, look at that. So now we have our string be this. One trick I wanted to show you is that we need to escape the double quotes here because our string is declared with double quotes. But we can use the single quotes to declare the string, and then we don't have to escape the double quotes inside. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going back, moving all the escape characters, and we can just change the first double quotes and the last one, which is basically declaring that it's a string, and inside it we can have double quotes, which won't bug JavaScript now. So it will know that we declared the string with a single quote, and inside it we can have double quotes as many times as we want, and we don't have to escape it. So basically this is the same as doing the escape. But sometimes you might also have I am instead of this, you'll have I am like that. So now, because we have also single quotes and double quotes, you want to escape those which are surrounding the initial string. Hopefully this makes sense for you. Okay, run the tests. You should use 2 quotes and 4. Oh, okay. So we need to do them their way. So let's do that. Escape, 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 like that. Run. Good. Okay, quoting strings with single quotes. Okay, so we can do single or double quotes as long as we start and end with the same type of quote. Okay. Alright, yeah. So I didn't know about this lesson, but basically is what I just told you. You can see that here we declared the conversation variable to be a string inside a single quote, and then we can just use double quotes as much as we want. Okay, and also we have the case where we having double quotes and single quotes inside our string, so we need to escape the one which declares the string. Okay, do not confuse the backslash with the forward slash. So backslash is for escaping, forward slash is for commenting. Change the provided string to a string with single quotes at the beginning and end and no escape characters. Okay, so what we have here, a link. So let's change this to single quotes, and we can remove the escape characters here and here. Good. 21% in 40 minutes. Okay. Quotes are not the only characters that can be escaped inside a string. There are two reasons to use escaping characters. Okay, first one is to allow you to use, which allows you to use characters you may not otherwise be able to type out, such as a carriage return. Or two, to allow you to represent multiple quotes in a string without JavaScript misinterpreting what you. We learned this in the previous challenge. Okay, so look at that. We have all these escape sequences. We have single quotes, double quotes, backslash. So if you want to use a backslash inside a string, you need to escape it first. Then we have the new line, a carriage return, a tab, a word boundary, and a form feed. I never use it. Note that the backslash itself must be escaped in order to display as a backslash. Okay, let's see the exercise. Assign the following 3 lines of text into the single variable myString using escape sequence. Okay, we need first line, then carriage return, we have a tab, we have a backslash, second line, and third line. Okay, so this is nice. You need to use escape characters to insert special characters. Okay, yeah. Here is a text with the escape character sequences written out. So let's copy this and put it inside our string. First line, new line. Okay, so backslash n. Then we have tab backslash. Okay, so tab, which is backslash t, and then we have backslash. So we need to escape. So backslash. Then we have the second line. You can see also here in the console what happens. Then we have the second line and new line. So backslash n. And look at that. Now we have the first line, a tab. We have first line, then a new line, a tab, the backslash, second line, new line, and third line. It might be a little confusing, but yeah. And also you can't have spaces here. If we put spaces or something, it won't work. So they all need to be next to each other. Okay, run the tests and move on. Concatenating strings with plus operator. Okay, we've seen this before when we did the operator. So we can have a string and then append another string using the plus sign. Watch out for spaces. Concatenation do not add spaces between concatenated strings. So you'll need to add them yourself. As you can see here, my name is Alan, comma, and we have no space here, but we need a space here. Build my string from the strings. This is the start and this is the end using the plus operator. Okay, let me copy this because we don't want to type it all. And we want to assign it to my string. And we add the plus operator between. So we have this is the start and we have a spacing plus this is the end. Deep space says that we can do we can remove the space here and add a space like that. Yeah, we can also do this, so we can have as many strings as we want, but instead of doing this, it's much easier to just add the space before the closing quote here. Run the test. Okay, concatenating strings with the plus equals operator. Alright, so do you remember that we also did this with numbers? So we can do that the same with strings. It's basically the same concept. We have our string and we want to add something at the end. So we do plus equals, which will mean our string equals our string plus this string. Okay, build my string with two strings. We have this one. We need to declare it like this, and we have to do my string plus equals. This is the second sentence. Okay, let's see what it will console. Console log my string. Yeah, so we have this is the first sentence and we have the space from here, and then this is the second sentence. Good. Next, constructing strings with variables. Okay, sometimes you need to build a string mad lib style by using the concatenation operator. You can invert one or more variables into a string you're building. Okay, perfect. So basically what we can do now is we can have variables and we can put them inside our strings by concatenating it. So look at this example. We have our name, which is freeCodeCamp, is declared in a variable, and then we can say that hello, our name is, we add it, we concatenate it, and then we add the rest part of the string, which is pretty nice. And later, if we change this variable to whatever, it will be changed in this string also. Okay, let's see what we need to do. Set my name to a string equal to your name. So equal Florin, and set and build my string with my name between the strings. My name is and I am well. Okay, so my name is space, and then we add our variable my name, and at the end, and I am well, like that. And now if we check what my string str is, you can say my name is Florin and I am well. Or let's say I change my name to, I don't know, Alex, and look at that, the string is also changed now. My name is Alex. This is very useful. This is why you're using variables, because you want to be able to change it in one place and then will be updated in other places. At least this is one case of variables. Okay, look at that, 25%. Appending variables to strings. Just as we can build a string over multiple lines out of string literals, we can also append variables to a string using the plus equal operator. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the same we did before. So let's see. Set some adjective to append it to my string. Adjective, cool. And we can do my string plus equals some adjective. And now it will have learning to code is full. Okay. Next, find the length of a string. All right, good. We can find the length of a string by saying after our string dot length. This will give us the length of the string. Let's see. Okay. If we created, we can find, all right. Use the dot length property. So this is a property, dot something. Anytime you see dot something is a property. Later on we'll learn about function, but for the function we'd also have the parentheses. But when we see dot length, dot size, dot x, dot y, those are all properties. Okay, let's see what we need to do. Use the dot length, count the number of characters, and assign it to last name length. Okay, so we have initially last name length to be 0. We have the last name Lovelace, and let's see, last name length will be last name dot length. Let me also console.log it, but apparently they forgot to show us how it works. Okay, so initially we just set the last name length to be the last name, which is Lovelace. But we want to get the number, so the length. So we can just say dot length, and look at that. Now we have 8 because it has 8 characters. Okay, next. Use bracket notation to find the first character in a string. Alright. Most modern programming languages like JavaScript don't start counting at 1 like humans do. They start at 0. This is very important for you to know if you never programmed before. So in programming, at least in most modern programming languages, we start at 0. Okay. Yeah. So if, for example, we have the string Charles and we want to take the first letter, we're going to say first name bracket, we put the index there and we close the bracket, and it will give us C in this case. So the bracket notation, we put opening bracket, the index, so which character we want, but keep in mind that we start at 0, and then a closing bracket. Let's use it so we can see how it works. Use the bracket notation to find the first character in the last. So again, we have the last name. Let me also console.log here, first letter of last name. You can see now is this string because we just assigned it that string. But if we want the first character, we put bracket, oops, not around it, like that. We have an opening and closing, and inside we put which character we want. If we want the first one, we put 0. And look at that, we have L. If we want the fourth one, let's see. The people from the chat, what number do we put here if we want the fourth character inside the Lovelace string? What number do we put inside the brackets? I'm going to check the what is it? The chat, yeah. Okay, deep space got it right. So it will be 3. So the fourth letter will be 3. Think of it like just subtracting 1. So if you want the 10th letter or the, I don't know, 8th letter, you just subtract 1 and then you have index 7 because it starts from 0. Okay, well done Simina, well done Marek. Good. Yeah, so you can see the fourth, L-O-V-E, we get it by using the 3. Alright, let's put back 0 because this is what they want and go on to the next challenge. Understand string immutability. In JavaScript, string values are immutable, which means that they cannot be altered once created. For example, the following code. My string equals Bob. And we have here my string of 0, so the index 0 will be J. We cannot change the value of my string to job because the contents of my string cannot be altered. Note that this does not mean that my string cannot be changed, just that the individual characters of a string literal cannot be changed. The only way to change my string will be to assign it with a new string like this. My string is Bob and then my string is job. So we can't access the individual characters and we can't reassign now. Correct the assignment my string so it contains the string values of hello world using the approach shown in the example above. So instead of trying to change the jello word, this is nice, jello word. By changing the first letter to H, we're going to just take this and reassign it to hello world. Typer cannot assign the and we need to assign the entire string, not the first character. Run the tests. And this is how we change the jello to hello. Okay, use bracket notation to find the nth character in a string. Alright. You can also use the bracket notation to get the character at other positions. Yeah, we looked at that before. Let's try to set third letter of last name to equal the third letter of last name variable using bracket notation. Okay, the people from the chat, tell me again, how do we get the third letter? Hint, try looking at the second letter. Okay, so the second letter of the first name we're getting by saying first name brackets 1. So the third letter we're getting by saying third letter of last name equal last name of 2. This is how we're getting V here. So this is 0, 1, 2. Okay, I think this is pretty obvious by now. So I'm going forward. The next challenge. Use bracket notation to find the last character in a string. Okay, look at that. So now we're using the two things we learned before. Dot length and the bracket notation. What happens if you want to get the last character, but you don't know? I mean, you can just count all the letters, the characters, and then do the last one, get the last one by that. You don't want to count all the characters. So how you would do it is by using a little mathematics. Yeah. We have the brackets and we get the first name dot length, so the entire length of the string, and then we subtract 1 because, as I said, we start from 0, not from 1. And that's how you get the last letter. Let's see. last name dot length, which is 8 in our case, but we want the 7th index, so -1. And now let's console.log so we can see what happens. You can see that we have E. But this code also works if we add some more characters here. Look at that, it gets the M. If we add the space, space and pop, it will get the P. So always it will get the last character. Good. Next. Use bracket notation to find the end to last character. Okay. So we can subtract as much as we want to go from right to left. Instead of going 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, we just go the other way around. Let's see what we have to do. Okay. Second to last. So last name length -2. We want the second to last. Alright. Word blanks. Okay. We will now use our knowledge of strings to build a Mad-Lib style word game we're calling word blanks. You will create an optional humorous fill-in-the-blank style sentence. Okay, in a Mad-Libs game you are provided sentences with some missing words, like nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. You then fill in the missing pieces with words of your choice in a way that the completed sentence makes sense. Consider this sentence. It was really, and we, otherwise, oh no, and we ourselves, ... Okay. This sentence has 3 missing pieces, an adjective, a verb, and an adverb, and we can add words of our choice to complete it. Okay. Yeah, this is nice. So we declare 4 variables, a noun, an adjective, a verb, and an adverb. And we have the word blanks, which, let's see what it has to do. Okay. You will also need to account for spaces, yeah. So we need to form a sentence using words of our choice, along with the words we provided. Okay, so we have a noun, dog. Big, ran quickly. Okay. I guess we can say our plus my noun plus our, we can say our adjective, but then let's see, we can say something like our big dog ran quickly. If that's what else should we add between? I have no idea. So let's just do that. Our space, my adjective, so our big, we also need a space here, so let's add it. Our big dog, another space, plus my verb, plus space, my adverb. Okay, and let's console that log word blanks. Our dog ran quickly. Yeah, it would be nice if we had some other words in between. It was really plus hot, and we left ourselves silly. But now the nice thing with this is that if we change the dog to cat, it will say our big cat ran quickly, and then big to small or tiny. Our tiny cat ran quickly. I don't know. Ran slowly. Yeah, slowly. Yeah, but you understand now. Oh, let's add a dot also at the end. So plus dot. Okay, so keep in mind that we also needed to add the spaces because we wouldn't have it otherwise. So you should not change the values assigned to my noun. Oh, okay. So we should not change these. Alright. Our big dog ran quickly. Good. 32%. Perfect. Good cat. Yeah. Store multiple values in one variable using JavaScript arrays. Okay. This is something big now. Arrays. Look at that. We have the brackets also. You start an array declaration with an opening square bracket, end it with a closing square bracket, and put a comma between each entry, like this. We have the string peanut butter, comma, jelly, comma, bread. Modify the new array, myArray, so that it contains both a string and a number, in that order. Alright, so think of let's see, the array is just a collection of other entries or items. You can, yeah, it's a list of items. If you want to store a list of something which are related, so let's see, maybe a list of ingredients. Instead of saying 10, setting 10 variables to 10 ingredients, so ingredient 1, I don't know, bread, ingredient 2, flour, or whatever, you can just say var ingredients, and you can put all the ingredients inside of an array, which is nice. Also in JavaScript, the arrays can contain numbers and strings and objects and all of the types. So if we have string in one position, it's not necessarily that we have string in another one. As you can see here, they have string and then number. So you can do that in JavaScript, which is good and bad at the same time. But yeah, that's a topic for another lesson. Let's see, modify the new array myArray so it contains both a string and a number. So Florin and 17. Okay. Nest one array within another array. They go pretty quickly from nesting also. Yeah. So obviously we can have multi-dimensional arrays. You can see here we have an array and then we have two arrays inside it. We can have 3 arrays and 4 and array inside an array inside another array. Yeah, it's weird how they went so quickly to multi-dimensional arrays. But yeah, you can also nest arrays within other arrays like this. Create a nested array called myArray. Okay. Also, the arrays can have empty values. I mean, it can have no values. Let's see, will this work? Yeah. Access array data with indexes. Yeah, this is pretty much the same as with strings. If we want to access the first element inside an array, we get it by saying array of 0, because it's also zero index based. We have a joke in the live chat. Why the programmer quit her job? She didn't get her a raise. Her raise. Okay, nice one. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, so as I said, we declare the array, and then we can get array 0, which will get the first value. Is the same thing we did for the strings, but now we're dealing with arrays. Okay, create a variable called myData and set it to equal the first value of my array using bracket notation. Variable myData will be myArray 0 because we want the first value, which is 50. Modify array data with indexes. Alright, so now, unlike strings, the entries of the array are mutable, which means that we can change it. So we can say something like my array of 0 will be, let's see, 109. And now if we console.log my array, so we can see what it contains, let's do it first before signing and then again after signing. So you can see that first it's 18, 64 and 99, so what it was declared, and then we have 109 because we assigned the first item by the array. Good. Oh, we need to put 45. All right. Access multi-dimensional arrays with indexes. Okay. Yeah, so we can access the multi-dimensional arrays by concatenating here the brackets. So we want the first element in the first array and then the first element in the second array. And if we have another array inside, we can do the third one and so on and so forth. There shouldn't be any spaces between the array name and the square brackets. Alright, keep that in mind. Using bracket notation, select an element from my array such that my data is equal to 8. Okay, so let's see, where is 8? Here. This is the 1, 2, 3rd. This is the third third array inside the first array. So here we need to put 2. Keep in mind, on the third element we subtract 1 because it's 0 index. And we want 7, 8, 9. So we have the second item. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, good. Completed. Manipulate arrays with push. Good. So here we have our first method. We can put items inside our array by pushing something to it. You can see in this example we have array equals to an array, and then we want to add another number here at the end. So instead of just reassigning the array to be another array with an extra element, we use the array.push and we give it the value we want to put at the last spot. So push puts an element at the last spot of the array. Push dog3 onto the end of the array variable. Okay, so we have here a multi-dimensional array and we want to push another array inside. Dog and 3. Let's also console.log my array. Okay. So you can see that initially we have an array with 2 arrays inside. Then we are pushing another array and we have it here at the end. Alright. Manipulate arrays with pop. Okay, look at that. My name is useful. Pop returns the value from the end of the array. Also, it removes it. Let's see. The best way to see how it does, we can play with it. So, yeah, look at this example first. We have 3 array, which has 1, 4, and 6. Then we're using 3array.pop, and we are assigning it to the variable 1 down, which 1 down is now 6. and also the array is changed. So we removed the last item from the array. Let's play it with here. Console.log my array and console.log my array after. Removed from my array will be my array dot pop. And look at that. Also keep in mind that that pop doesn't need an index or anything. It will just remove the last item from the array. My array.pop, you can see that initially we have two arrays inside here, and then we removed the last one. Also, if we console.log the remove from my array, you can see its value is now the last item from the array. Manipulate array with shift. Okay. Shift, okay. We remove the last one with pop. But what if we want to remove the first? So we do that by using that shift. Think of that shift to be the opposite of that pop. It removes the first one. Let's see. My array dot equals to my array dot shift. Okay. Yeah. So remove from our array is now Stimson because we use that shift. So removes the first one. And also it changes the array. So it will not only get the first value, but it's also going to change the initial array. And we have unshift, which guess what it does? It will push on the first position inside the array. So if shift removes the first position, the first element inside the array, unshift will push one. And also unshift needs a value. So what we want to put inside the array. Let's see on our exercise. Oh, okay. My array, we want to unshift all and 35, like that. It's too bad they don't have by default console.logs. It will be much easier for us to see what's happening. So let me edit my array and my array. Alright, so we have initially my array to be John and dog, but then they shift something. So they remove John 23, which leaves us with dog 3. Okay, so this is the first console log, and then we have my array unshift, so we're pushing Paul and 35 in the first position inside the array. Shopping list. Create a shopping list in a variable myList. The list should be a multi-dimensional array containing several subarrays. The first element in each subarray should contain a string with the name of the item. The second should be the number representing the quantity. Alright. Also, a good thing with the arrays is that we can do them on multiple lines, so it will be much easier for us to see what we are doing. Okay, tell me 5 products. Let's see, what should we add? Chocolate bar, because we have it in the example, we need 15. But then we need milk and what else? Bananas, 7, and we need, I don't know, kiwis, 9, and what else? Something, oranges. We need 2. Okay, so now we can see we have a list of an array of arrays. The first element of the subarray is the name of the product, and the second one is the quantity. Keep in mind that we also use the commas where needed between all the elements of the array and then between all the sub-elements of the subarray. Okay. Write reusable JavaScript with functions. Now, this is a crucial part in JavaScript. Functions is a huge topic. Let's see what they say. Okay. In JavaScript, we can divide, but not only in JavaScript, in other programming languages as well. We can divide up our code into reusable parts called functions. Here's an example. Function. We have the function keyword, which is important, followed by the function name. How do you want to call your function? Then we have an opening and closing parentheses, and then an opening and closing brackets, curly brackets. And inside the curly brackets, we're going to put all the code that we want to run once we call the function. So think of the functions like something you might want to use multiple times. A block of code which you want to call multiple times. Okay, and then how you're calling the function is by saying the function name and then parentheses again. You can see here there is an example. We have the function keyword, then the name of the function is our reusable function, and inside there we want to console log hey world. We're calling the function, and look at that, inside the console we have hey world. But now the nice part is that if we copy and paste this reusable function 5 times, you can see that it will run 5 times. So it will run this block of code 5 times. And here we can have multiple lines of code. Let's say we want to say hey in one console and then word in another console. So look at that. Hey word, hey word, hey word 5 times because we called it 5 times. Okay, let me quickly change this because we only changed the code below this line. Create a function called reusable function. Function reusable function. Okay, which prints hi world. So console.log hi world. Okay, like that, with no exclamation point and everything. And we add the semicolon, and after we can call the function usable function like this. And look at that, we are calling our function. Should output hi word to the dev console. Oh, I have a comma, so that shouldn't be there. Good, let's see what we're going to learn next with the functions. We can pass in parameters. Okay, let's see. Parameters are variables that act as placeholders for the values that are not to be input to a function, that are to be input to a function when it is called. When a function is defined, it is typically defined along with one or more parameters. The actual values that are input or passed into a function when it is called are known as arguments. Here's a function with 2 parameters. So we have param1 and param2. And look at that, we can console log them. And then later, let's take a look at this example. Our function with argument. We have a and b, and then we're console logging a minus b. But then when we're calling our function, we can say that it should call it with 10 and 5. So now it will do the math, 10 minus 5, and will get 5, which is awesome because if we change this to 25, it will do the math for 25 minus 5, and look at that, it's 20. Or we can say 25 and 17, and it will do the math and it will be 8. So this is the power of function. Okay. So when we're declaring the function, these two are parameters. And when we are calling the function, the two are called arguments because they are values. I don't always know that which is parameter, which is argument, but yeah. This is it. I might forget it also, so don't worry if you do. Okay. Let's see. Create a function called function with args. So function with args, like that. That accepts two arguments and outputs their sum. So let's do again a and b. And then we can do console.log a plus b. And underneath here, we're going to call our function with args, and we're going to pass two numbers. Let's see, 7 and 10. And look at that, inside the console we have 17. If we change this to 73 and 40, we'll have 130. Also, we can call this with different numbers anytime we call it. Let's see, 20, 30, 43. Okay, and look at that, it does all the calculations, so we don't have to write this again. We just pass into numbers and it will be calculated for us. Awesome. Let's see, 43%. Submit and go to the next challenge. Global scope and functions. Alright. In JavaScript, scope refers to the visibility of variables. Variables which are defined outside of a function block have global scope. This means they can be seen everywhere in your JavaScript code. Variables which are used without the var keyword are automatically created in the global scope. This can create unintended consequences elsewhere in your code or when running a function again. You should always declare your variables with var. Okay, later we're going to learn about let and const, but as of now we're going to use var. Hey Rodrigo, welcome to the live stream. Okay, so basically global scope. Think of it like this. If you declare a variable outside all of the functions, the function will be able to see those variables. But if you declare a variable inside the function, you can't access it outside of the function. So let's see. Using var, declare a global variable myGlobal outside of any function. Initialize it with a value of 10. Okay, so look at that. We have myGlobal be 10. Now, inside the function fun1, assign 5 to oops global without using the var keyword. So oops global will be 5. Okay, and look at that. Because we don't have a var keyword inside the function, it will be seen outside, which is not what we want. If we're adding a var, look at that, we won't see it outside. Basically what happens is that the parser will come here and see that it's not declared, and it will declare it in the global scope. At least that is what I know from my vast, in quotes, knowledge of JavaScript. Okay, let's go to the next one and learn more about functions. Local scope. Variables which are declared within a function are local scoped. Okay, as well as the function parameters. That means that they are only visible within that function. It is a function, okay, we have this, use local scope. Okay, yeah, we have var loc, which is foo, but we can't see loc outside. It will be not defined. Okay, declare a local variable my var inside my local scope. Var my var, which let's set it to 17. So look at that, inside the function we console log my var and it will say 17. But outside the function, if we want to console my var, it doesn't know what it is. So it will be my var, it will say my var is not defined and it will be a reference error. So it doesn't know what it is. Okay, now remove the console log to pass the test. Okay, so we need to remove it because it's an error and we don't want it. Okay, run the test. Global versus local scope in functions. It is possible to have both global and local variables with the same name. When you do this, the local variable takes precedence over the global variable. Alright, so look at this example. We have variable some var with the values of hat. Then inside the function, my function, we have the same variable name, and again with a setting it to a value, which is fine, but inside this function now some var will be had, so it won't care about this some var which is declared in the global scope. But it's not an error, so you can do this. Okay, let's see what we need to do. Add the local variable to my outfit function to override the value of outerwear with sweater. Okay, so we have outerwear here, t-shirt, not sweater, sweater. All right, and we want to not reassign it, we want to create a local scoped variable called outerwear, yeah, and it will be sweater, like that. Okay, let me add some console.log so we can see what happens here, also here. Okay, oops. Alright, so you can see that we have it first be t-shirt and then inside the function is sweater, and if we console log outside the function again, even after the function is called, is still t-shirt, so it won't affect it, it will only be worthy here. Alright, let's do a couple more and then we're going to take a break. Return a value from a function with return. Okay, this is a very important part of the functions. You can return something out of the function, which you might use later. So we can pass in values inside the function with arguments, and we can get values outside the function by returning them. So you can see here, we can create a function +3, which will take a number, it will add 3 to it, and it will return it. So now if we call the function +3, and we have the calculations, but it will be stored. And if we assign it to an answer variable, we now have the answer be equal to the return of the mathematical operation. Alright, let's see, create a function times 5, function times 5, that accepts one argument, multiplies it by 5. So we have a number, and we return number times 5. Okay, see the last line in the editor for an example of how you can test your times 5 function. Alright, so yeah, we can do something like, let me remove this. Here we can declare mynum, which will be times 5, and we can pass 17 inside. And let's console.log mynum to see its value. Look at that. So we have times 5, 17. So it goes inside the function, it will multiply by 5, and it will return it. So now we store it inside the mynum variable. And then we can console log it. If we don't store it anywhere, well, it will pretty much do anything here because we just return it, but we don't use it. So yeah, what's the point on doing that? Okay, understanding undefined value returned from a function. Okay, this one is also important to keep in mind. If a function doesn't have a return keyword followed by a value or anything, by default, all the function, even if you don't specify it, they will return undefined. So you can see here in this example, we have the function add3. We just add 3 to a sum, but we don't return anything. And we don't return anything. So if we console log the value of add3, look at that, it will be undefined. Even though if we haven't returned undefined, it's still undefined. We can just say return sum, and then it will return the sum. But if we say anything else, if we don't say anything, it will return undefined. Alright, okay, let's remove that and let's do the problem, the exercise. Create a function add 5 without any argument. Function add 5. This function adds 5 to the sum variable, but its return value is undefined. Okay, sum plus equals 5. So it will add, you can see here that we have a global variable sum, which is 0. Then we call this function which changes the global variable. So if we do console.log sum here and sum again, you can see that we call the add3 function, we add 3 to the sum, we console log it. And then again, we add 5 and we log it. So it changes the initial value of the sum. Yeah, this is just some extra information. Not required for our exercise, but yeah, I hope it makes you understand how it works. If you recall from our discussion, everything to the right of the equal sign is resolved before the value is assigned. This means we can take the return value of a function and assign it to a variable. Assume we have predefined a function sum which adds to number. We call sum and returns. Okay, so we did this before. We call the function with a number in this case, which return the operation, which is then calculated, and it will be stored in the variable. Call the process arg function with an argument of 7. A process arg with 7. And assign its return value to the variable processed. Processed, the process arg 7. Alrighty. Stand in line. In computer science, a queue. Okay. So we're going to the queues now. I think this is a good moment to stop for now. We have the first part of the basic JavaScript. There are, let's see, we did 53 out of 110. Alright. Okay. I'm going to stop now and do the rest of them later today. For those of you who are watching live, and for those of you who are watching the recording, you will be able to find the link into the description. Also, we'll have a playlist with all of the challenges and all of the projects and everything we did so far in our quest to conquer freeCodeCamp. Alright, for those of you who are watching now live, if you have any questions regarding what we did so far, let me know. If not, then I'm going to stop the live stream, take a break, and I'm going to come back later today and do the second part of this challenge. Okay, Deep Space, you're hungry. See you later. Alright, see you later then. Thanks you all for joining, and thanks for those who are watching the recording. I hope this is useful and you can learn JavaScript better. If you did, give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. Help me grow this channel so I can create more content for you. Alright, see you later. Thanks all for joining.